So there have been a lot of new subscribers on my channel, and because of that, I kind of wanted to rehash a talking point that I've done several times, especially on the lead up to the anniversary. If you were there for the 10th anniversary, I saw some people say that, "Hey, you got me into Dokkan." Well, here is another video for people who may have just found this channel, gotten into Dokkan during the 10th Annie. I know a lot of Legends player. If you're from Legends and you started Dokkan during the 10th Annie, tell me, because that's kind of an interesting point, because another one of the videos that did really well on this channel was a Legends video, and I kind of just want to know how Legends players are feeling, what with their last month being kind of bad. So, but this video is going to be talking about banner selection and sort of risk assessment, because guess what? Gacha is random, but a part of gacha is making the randomness work for you. What do I mean by that? Well, a day or two ago, I uploaded the summons on this banner. And what's most important here is that while technically, I guess this is technically a part of the EX anniversary, it is certainly a standout banner, no matter how you look at it, right? The GT duo are on this banner, right? Two good units. Both of these units are good. Don't let Twitter gaslight you too much. I'm pretty sure both of these units are fine. The Goku is still usable here, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Fat Boo is one of those characters that could stay usable essentially forever because of gimmicks. Namek Vegeta is whatever. And Glorio, Daima Goku, and Daima Vegeta, I would call very solid to just solid with Daima Vegeta. Even though he's a new unit, he's probably closer to like just solid option. And the 2 points we're going to make this video are, if you're new, talking about TUR strength as relative to LRs. Why is this important? It is now March, and we just got our first TUR in quite some time. We got this Vegeta, right? And that's sort of an important distinction to make because, well, this Vegeta is certainly no LR. Imagine this text if he would also happen to be like a premium unit, right? Like a premium LR unit. He'd be insane. A lot of things in his kit would be a little more cohesive. He probably wouldn't depend on characters like, he's not on here, but the Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, LR Goku from the anniversary, the Carnival. There are just bits and pieces. There are privileges that LRs get no matter how you slice it, okay? So if you're new and you're like, well, what do I pull on? Well, I'll just say this. Even though I just said all that, there are some banners that have relatively high value regardless of the inadequacies of the TUR. And in this case, even though Daima Vegeta might not be the best character in the game, as people have said, if you gave him guard, he's literally a top 5 character in the entire game. If he's fighting an int unit, he's probably like that because you get guard. Type advantage. So the reason this was useful for me, though, is I pulled on this banner. I said I have 2,463 stones, I think is what I started with. I said I'd pull until I spent about 500. The great thing about this banner is that it also had a 2 and then guaranteed feature. That's pretty great. So I didn't end up putting Vegeta. I pulled like 4 Gokus, so almost rainbowed. I pulled a Glorio. I didn't have him. So 1, 2, 3, 4 characters I didn't have, and then this Super Easy A who doesn't look the best, but I didn't have either, so 5. I also managed to pull dupes of the AGL Goku, so, you know, safeguarding me for a future Easy A, and I pulled copies of the Fizz Super Saiyan 3 Goku, so again, safeguarding me because he's about to Easy A tomorrow, right? It's just one of those things where you need to evaluate the quality of banner for your account. And a part of that is just being honest with what your account needs. I have already taken this Daima Goku and Glorio into events, all right? Like I knew that even if I didn't pull Vegeta, I'd have fun if I happened upon Goku or Glorio. This is a pretty special banner by, you know, middle or beginning of March standards, okay? But that is when you have to make your stones work for you. The great thing about Dokkan Battle is that there's a lot of nothing periods, and let me just go over to that. So what I mean by nothing periods is, well, I mean, just take a look at the months. January is the 8th anniversary. And we go into February, we get the part 2s. We go into March, like we're in now. What do we get? Wow, 17. Super 17. Whoa. You know what I mean? So, in this case, you see the month of March. Okay, so February, there's anniversary units to pull on. Get the 5th anniversary's EZA. You go into March, and Super 17 comes out. You get some EZAs, and finally you arrive around March 18th at Saiyan Day. Saiyan Day is a pretty nice landing spot, right? Like, Saiyan Day units are usually pretty good. So here in the 8th anniversary, we have him. Here in the 9th anniversary, we had Vegeta here, of course. And who was the 7th year? I don't think I was here for this. I actually started in the 8th year, so Majin Vegeta. That's so sad I missed that, man. I love that character. Would have been so cool. But yeah, so you understand that around this March 6th slot, there really isn't anything to look forward to until about Saiyan Day. So that's a little under 2 weeks, right? So you're free to play, you're a low spender, you got a little under 2 weeks. You understand that maybe daily you pull about 3 to 5 stones. That comes out at about like a single multi, right? The bigger part of this discussion then, and again, I'm speaking to people who are new, free to play and low spending players, is you won't have money going into Saiyan Day, and you probably won't have money going into where are they? God, look at this. Yuck. Golden Week, right? So you remember that I said I pulled on this banner. Of course I did. I spent 500. I got very lucky during the anniversary, and I don't pull dupes. If there's a big rule I follow, it's do not pull dupes if you are not a whale, man. Obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and like berate you for it, but just remember, so long as you have one copy of the character and they're like premium, you can just use a friend unit who's already rainbowed. It doesn't really change anything, you know what I mean? It's mostly about getting the leader skills. Like right now, I'm running Daima Goku's team to run Glorio, and then I just run a friend unit rainbowed Vegeta who I didn't get, but it's not like I'm missing anything, right? So that's a big thing. Talking about Golden Week. Golden Week, which is these two characters, and then later on, again, April is not a month you want to be pulling on. Please do not pull in April. Look how bad these April drops are, right? Like, no theming, just terrible. I will say that in the 9th year, the April was pretty good. It was Topo, but and Ginyu. Ginyu, not so much, but Topo was a serviceable, strong unit, right? So the big thing about Dokkan, if you're, again, a new, returning, free-to-play, low-spending, etc. player, is that there will be dry periods, and it's mostly a will of not pressing the button. Because we're in March right now, we're experiencing the March 6th DFE. There's nothing else really coming for this month until the 18th-ish, where we'll be seeing Saiyan Day. As I said before, Saiyan Day probably isn't Daima, so if you're super hyped about Daima, I would probably check it off the list. The reason I say this is because Saiyan Day is 1, usually a Super Saiyan character, or a Saiyan character, and 2, the LR Bardock, who is free to play, is coming, and we already know that. He's been leaked. We know that. We've known he's going to be awakening for a long time anyway, before that. And this will be around where they frame that character. The reason I say that it's probably not Daima is because there are a lot of easy A's waiting, and I think we could see a Cell Saga character, just a one-off DFE Cell Saga character. I think we could see a Tournament of Power character one-off. I think we could see a future Saga character one-off, or even we could see a Bardock-related character one-off to go with his free-to-play LR, who also easy A's the TUR Bardock, right? There's a TUR Bardock that needs easy Aing, and he's a DFE. 2022. You need to sort of make your peace if you're a new low spending or free to play player, because you can't really afford to pull on this and pull on this and, you know, coming down here, which is much more important, by the way. This is where you want to land. Pull on this. You have about, so remember I said before, oh, I've got about 2 weeks to make up those stones I spent, 500. Well, that's not going to happen. But you know how, but I will actually make up the 500 by the time Golden Week comes around. And these characters are usually really good. Again, these characters dominated all year, and then they went into a super good LR, by the way. I don't know if you guys, maybe if you're new, you don't know, but if you're returning, you know about LR Bulma. Let's see, the 9-year was also really good. It was again, the Buu duo, who went into a not very necessary Ultimate Gohan. This character wasn't too necessary, but still fine. Fine for most of the year. You can go to 7th year. Let's see if it holds true real quick. Going to Golden Week. I assume it's this one, right? Yeah. TURs right here. And then who is the LR? The LR was... Oh, yeah, this bomb-ass what-if unit. Super cool. So yeah, you can see Golden Week immediately carries a kind of prestige that the others don't. This including Saiyan Day, which is a major celebration, mind you, but not quite to the level of Golden. So this is just a brief overview. Like I said, a brief overview of things. I guess the last thing I want to talk about is that TURs are still not really competing with this class of character, and that can sort of make this decision easier, right? We've seen in the last year of Dokkan how apparent this is, because we go from the 9th anniversary, we go into a character like Toppo, but firstly we stop at Frieza, who is he's strong enough but just not there. We go into Vegeta, who is strong, very strong in fact, but not quite to the level of like a beast character. They say all the time the anniversary units are meant to dominate all year. I would say that TURs dominate in their window, but their window closes much faster. Whereas like the Golden Week characters from last year haven't really made it to the new year, right? They did last a very long time. So it's not really, a negative that they've ended up in this position. It just sort of is what it is. They were good all year, but their role wasn't really to carry anymore. It was just to exist. And it's, it's the natural order, right? So as we go down, we're not really seeing any TURs that really stand out. I mean, we have the Goku Black here, which was a global first, just abysmal. I don't know how much of this actually shows. Oh, I guess, yeah. But then, who's the next big character that drops? Cellmax. Cellmax was incredibly dominant, right? Cellmax was arguably, was one of the best characters in the game. Most likely second, right? So we're going down. We're still not really seeing a TUR compete. And then stops right here, I guess. Either way, though, like, you kind of get the point, right? Like, TURs just aren't really competing a lot of the time, even though they do show flashes of true greatness. And I'm only framing it this bluntly because I want to save people stones. This is a gacha game, right? At the end of the day, this is a gacha game. And if you spend your stones, they're gone. So when I make decisions like this, just know that I fully thought out the banner quality. I thought out the return investment on like units being powerful. And even though I don't spend more than like the subscription fee, which is $8, low spending, free to play, $8 a month on the subscription, or $5 or whatever it is, like, because I know myself, I can save. You need to ask yourself, can you save? All right. So I said in that video, I'm probably not pulling on Saiyan Day at all. It would have to be really, really hype. It would have to be extremely hype. It would have to be one of those units that's like, that's my must pull unit. You know what I mean? It couldn't be, I don't know. I don't know who to say. I love Dragon Ball, so I can't really just pull a character out of the hat that I like hate, but it couldn't be no mid, essentially. Like, it couldn't be no mid. Not only does the character choice have to be really good for me, the character itself would have to be really high, because right now I'm arms folded, looking at TUR saying you haven't been good enough. You've been really good, you just haven't been good enough, because I could pull LRs. You know what I mean? So that's gonna do it for now. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club. We all gonna make it, and of course, peace.